if they don't come out of this with a significant lead in the division, I think it's kind of sad. Or the Orioles played at an insane pace, which it doesn't show it doesn't look like they're capable of doing.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone. Every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as usual, is my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you know when our videos go live. On today's show, we preview the Yankees-Angels series. We take a look around the standings in baseball because a lot of stuff, unexpected things, unexpected teams in wild card races. We're going to look at that. But first, let's talk about how easy the Yankees schedule is in August.
Yeah, I like how you put it in quotes, but it really shouldn't be in quotes because the combined amount of wins of the teams that they're playing against in August is insanely low. I mean, they literally are running through the easiest, the worst teams in Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. And I said this earlier in the week, but I think it remains true. If they don't come out of this with a significant lead in the division, I think it's kind of sad. Or the Orioles played at an insane pace, which it doesn't show it doesn't look like they're capable of doing. The Orioles schedule is a lot more challenging than the Yankees schedule is. But let's look at it further. So you're going into 3 games against the Angels. We'll preview that in segment 3. Angels they're a middling. They're the Angels. They're what they are every year. They're 15 games under 500. They don't have any starting pitching. Mike Trout's hurt. Anthony Rendon, who knows? And that's what's going on with the Angels. So they should take 2 out of 3 in that series easily. Then you get a little bit of a tougher series. You stay in the Bronx and you get Texas. Texas is tough because they're 6 games under 500, but they're fighting for something. They're playing for something. So, they're right neck and neck in their division too. The AL West is not great, but they're all fighting for something, and they're all fighting for wild card spots. So Texas won't be any. They're not going to lay down. They're going to play you tough. And then it gets simple. And when I say simple, I mean, you guys are going to agree with me that they should take advantage of the schedule. You get 3 games in Chicago against the White Sox. Have to win those games. Chicago right now is 27-87. They are currently on a 20-game losing streak. That is their second.
As we record this on Monday because this is Tuesday's show. So
correct. Yes. So they could be on a 21-game losing streak. By the time you're hearing this. That is Chicago's second longest losing streak in franchise history. The longest happened in May. Right. So we are just, looking at unbelievable amount of putrid play out of Chicago. They're 27-87 currently. They're probably going to break the Mets record of all time losses. They're probably going to break the 1961 Phillies record of most consecutive losses in a season. So you're really seeing a terrible baseball team.
But you know what's amazing about Chicago? They were 4-2 against the Rays. As bad as they are, they swept the Rays in a series. So that just shows you
how bad they've actually been, though.
How bad they've been, but how unexpected baseball is. Because you would not expect, like the Rays aren't great, but they're not terrible. So for a team like the White Sox to sweep them in a series, that just shows you how crazy baseball can be. So
it really does. Then the Yankees go to Detroit and they get 3 games against the Tigers, another team you got to beat. The Tigers are 53-60. They're a nice young team. They've played well, competitive over times. They're not a great team. The Yankees should beat them. The third game of that series, just to throw in there, is the Little League Classic where they play in the Little League World Series.
Right.
Yeah, so they will be playing in that game. Then the Yankees come back home. They get 3 games against the Guardians. Not an easy series. The Guardians are a good baseball team. They're fighting for something. They're 67-44 currently. We'll see what the Guardians look like.
Best record in baseball right now.
Yeah, so we'll see what they look like once they get there. Well, they're by I guess a game total, because they've played 2 more games than the Yankees. So, but we'll see how that turns out. Then the Yankees get 3 games at home against the Rockies. Got to beat them. They're 41-72. They're also awful. Then they get 3 games at home against the Washington Nationals, who are also awful, at 51-61. And then you get 3 games against the Cardinals, who are good, average, all around. What I'm
Are
trying
they?
to say with
I thought they were in DC for the Nationals.
they are in DC. You're right. Regardless, they should win that series. There should be a few sweeps involved in this. There should be these teams that they're playing. They are going through the litany of the worst teams in baseball. They are.
Yeah.
And you have to go through and win these games. And honestly, you got to get fat in these games. That's what you got to do. You got to create a lead for yourself in the division. You got to stack wins. They should leave right now currently speaking we're recording this on Monday. So currently speaking, the Yankees are at 67 wins. They should leave the month of August with around 83 wins. If not 85. Legitimately, that's how I feel.
Yeah. I really hope that by the time they do get to Chicago to face the White Sox, that the White Sox will have won at least one game. I don't want them going into Chicago with Chicago being on like a 30-game losing streak. You know what I mean? I kind of want them to win at least one game before then.
It is incredible. Well, Chicago is currently in Oakland, so they might have a chance there in winning one of those games. They get JP Sears, former Yankee great, tonight. I don't know if they're Oakland's tough. They're spunky. They're not good. They're not a great team, but they're spunky. That's how I would refer to them. I don't know. Let's see. Let me look at. All right, real quick. If you want to hang with me, let me look up Chicago's schedule up until the Yankee series.
Yeah, like just see who they're playing against if they have a chance.
Because they played the Twins in 3 games. The thing is about Chicago that's weird is they stay in games. They really do.
Right. Like they lost on Sunday 10-7. Like they scored 7 runs. It's not like they're being shut out in every game. Like
they stay in games. They just the games get late and their bullpen gives up 8 runs. Like they let's see. They get 3 games in Oakland. Then they get 2 games playing the Cubs. And the Cubs aren't gonna lay down for those games. And then they play the Yankees. So I mean,
I think the only shot is
that's 5 games. Your only shot is hoping that in one of these games, and let's see, Ross Stripling goes out there for Oakland. He's been terrible all year. Maybe they catch him off guard, and then they get Joey Estes in the last game in the Oakland series. He's 5-4 with a 4.77. I mean, Oakland doesn't have great pitchers, but when I read those stats to you, Chicago's sending out there a guy with a 7.11 ERA. The other game they're sending out a guy with a 5 ERA. Like they don't have good pitchers either. So I mean, I guess that's the only chance that they catch Oakland off guard in one of those games. Because I know the Cubs are playing for something and they're playing really well right now. So I don't think the Cubs are going to let down. There could be a chance. It would be at 26 games if the Yankees met up with them and they're still on the losing streak. 26, and the Yankees could push it to 29.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
So the Phillies, 1961 Phillies have the longest losing streak in baseball history, which I'm going to pull up right now. I don't know the exact number. It's 23 straight games. Wow. So the Yankees will be extending the losing streak if Chicago gets to that point. The Cubs would be the one who make it the longest losing streak of all time, which I think they would probably take great pleasure in doing in their
yeah, definitely with the crosstown rivals or uptown rivals, right? Because one's in the north end, one's in the south end. Yeah, that's how that works. That's how geography works.
it is crazy to me when you look at this that team though. Like Stacey, there were expectations for them this year. Like they weren't gonna be as bad as they are, and they're terrible. They're not remotely competitive.
Well, we spoke about it the other day. The expectations for them a couple of seasons ago, like how good the team was going to be because they had all these guys under. Yeah,
and they're awful. I don't think there's. Is there a chance in your mind at this point that they don't finish below the Mets team, the 62 and 120 team?
Oh, I could see that happening.
I don't think there's a chance they pass that team. Are they gonna get over 62 wins at this point? There's no way. Think about it. They're at 27 wins right now. They'd have to win 33 more games in 2 months.
They're not doing that.
How are they doing? Like that? They can't win. They're gonna have to win 15 and 17 games in 2. They're not doing that. It is. They're gonna have to win like multiple series the next 2 months. They're gonna finish with like 40 something wins. I mean, they're by far the worst team you've ever seen. Like by far. I mean, that Mets team was awful. They had 40 something wins, but this is, Oof. I mean, I can't imagine a team.
But the Mets had an excuse. It was their first.
They were an expansion team.
It was an expansion team. There's no excuse for Chicago. You're the third market in the country behind LA and New York. There's no excuse for them to be this bad. It's so embarrassing. I've said this so many times on the show. If you're a regular, you know this drives me insane. If I were a White Sox fan, I wouldn't watch. I would boycott. I don't know why anyone is watching this team, because the ownership clearly doesn't care.
I'd love to know how the guys on Locked On White Sox do it.
Oh yeah, he's well,
it's an everyday thing. How every day watching this team, and they're going to lose every game.
Well, he said he was lucky because in our weekly meeting, he was talking about how when the trade deadline was coming up, he didn't have to talk about the games because he was talking about all the players that the White Sox could possibly trade away that they didn't end up trading. Right. But he had that to talk about, so he didn't have to pay that much attention to the games or spend a lot of time talking about the games on the show. But now that everything's, trade deadline's over and they barely moved anyone, now he has to go back to talking about how horrible this team is.
So let's I know we've really gotten off on our Yankee tangent, but we've made our point in the games in August that the Yankees should win, and it involves Chicago. Chicago has the 17th strongest strength of schedule going out the rest of this year. It's with a 498 strength of schedule. They have to win 14 more games to surpass the 1962 Mets of not being the worst team of all time. Are they going to do it?
I
don't know if they're going to win 15 more games.
Yeah.
It's insane how bad they are. I can't believe it. Just for all the giggles though, let's look at the who has the least when it comes to strength of schedule. Because the Yankees, and this pertains to the conversation that we were having, have the 27th easiest schedule going out. So you're in the bottom 4 in the league, behind the Angels, A's, and Tigers. They should be able to win games. They should win this division. They really should. Especially when you look at the rest of the league and where teams are at when their strength of schedules. Tampa actually, really enough, has the hardest strength of schedule going out the rest of the year. Baltimore's 23rd. So they're kind of sort of middle of the pack. They're gonna have a tougher schedule than the Yankees do. The Yankees should go out there and win the division. They really should. Yep.
Now, speaking of that, coming up in segment 2, we're going to talk about the standings and how people are doing and what's going on with the divisions, the wild card, all that good stuff. But first, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification bell so you know when our videos go live. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. We do it every week. Or if you want top priority for that, you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us about roster moves, lineups, any kind of news. You can text us back and forth. It's a lot of fun. There's a 14-day free trial. All right, coming up next, we're just going to look around the league at all the different standings and give our opinions about how certain teams are doing. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trade, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, you get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and you talk to a real person every single time. Pros in the skilled trades get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM, which stands for Trademaster. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast. Host Paul Sullivan, aka Sully, is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs here in the dog days of summer. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So when you look at the MLB standings, the thing about baseball is, and John Sterling was totally correct with this, you can't predict baseball. Like, you really can't. You can't predict that the White Sox are going to lose 20 games in a row, possibly maybe lose out the rest of the season with the way they're playing. Wouldn't that be amazing? You couldn't predict that the Astros were going to start off so slowly and still not be like they got knocked out of first place. You couldn't predict possibly that the Red Sox would be doing as well as they're doing because, in our AL East preview, I think we all put them in last place, but I said that they would be in last place, but above 500. I said they'll probably win like 83, 84 games, but they're better than the Rays and the Blue Jays. So we're going to look at the standings, look at the wild card specifically, because for both leagues, it's interesting. Did you expect the Mets to be in the midst of the wild card race in the NL?
Well, no, especially the way the season started off for them. They really got off to a sluggish start, so you didn't expect the Mets at all to be involved in it, and they're right in the mix of it. I mean, they could easily be in the postseason. We'll start off with the AL first, just because it's easier to go down. Yankees and Orioles are currently on a dead tie for first place in the American League East. They're both 67 and 46. Same winning percentage, almost identical, within 5 games of home and road splits. The only thing the Yankees severely lead Baltimore in, and the Yankees severely lead everyone in the league in this category, which is crazy to think about because generally when you evaluate going into a postseason, which teams you like the most and who you think is going to make the most noise, people really look at this statistic to like prove who's going to be able to score the most runs. Run differential. Mm-hmm. The Yankees have a plus 121 run differential this year, which is the most in baseball. It's crazy how large it is. Baltimore's is plus 89, still really good. They both are going to...
One thing, without looking, guess what the White Sox run differential is?
Oh my gosh. It's got to be... It's minus 290.
247, minus 247.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not even remotely surprised. That's as atrocious as I think I've ever seen. I don't think I can't look at the rest of the league. I mean, Toronto's had a terrible year. They're minus 88. The Angels are minus 96. Miami's minus 140. And minus 247 is as bad as it possibly could be. I mean, that's
the difference between plus 121 and minus 247. That's crazy.
What is the worst run differential in Major League? I know we're doing this all on the fly.
Yeah.
But this is worth bringing up for you guys. The worst is the 1899 Cleveland Spiders.
Oh, that's not surprising because they were absolutely terrible.
Minus 723.
Yeah.
So I don't think Chicago's going to get to that, but still, the fact that they're in the 200s is remarkable.
Historically horrible. The next closest in negative run differential, Colorado at minus 180.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible too. Well, the Yankees get both of them the month of August. So if you go back to our first segment, it should give you a little bit of a credence on my point. Boston currently is sitting 2 games out of the wild card statistics in the American League. It's going to be tough for them to get back into there. They do have the 10th hardest schedule in the rest of baseball. So I don't think Boston being out of the playoff picture isn't a terrible bet at this point, especially because of the fact that Kansas City has surpassed them, and Kansas City led by, Bobby Witt has been, since the All-Star break, Bobby Witt Jr. has been incredible.
Unbelievable.
He's helped them leap over. Their starting pitching is also awesome. Minnesota, I don't think is going anywhere, and the top wild card in the American League is going to be it's going to be Baltimore or New York. Whoever wins the division. I expect at this point the Yankees to win the division. I honestly sitting here saying that I think the Yankees should win the division. The Orioles have a tougher schedule going out. The Yankees have an insanely... They're hitting their stride at the right time. I don't see at this point how you can give... honestly, I don't think there's much of an excuse for the Yankees to not They better be in the first wild card. They currently have a 4-game lead over Minnesota. I don't think you can't let Minnesota catch you in that wild card spot. But
no,
regardless, I mean, I don't know how you feel, and I don't think I want to like definitively say it, but do you think the Yankees should win the division at this point?
I think they could.
That's the way I'm feeling.
I think they could.
You're on mute.
I'll say could. What?
You're on mute.
No, I'm not. I'm not on mute.
I didn't hear you. Did I lose you?
Maybe.
Now I got you.
That's odd. Okay. I said they could. I'm not going to say should. I'll say could.
Well, yeah, they could. Of course. I mean, technically, if you want to be technical with me, Stacey, Tampa Bay could win the division. So could Toronto. I mean, they could just catch fire. And,
no, they cannot. Toronto's not catching fire. Neither are the Rays. No. If we're going by strength of schedule, if we're going by how the teams have played so far this season, yes, the Yankees should win the division.
Yeah, and I think my prediction as of now, I don't see Minnesota falling out of it. It's going to be between Kansas City and Boston. I think Kansas City is going to surpass Boston and take that last wild card spot. I really
think so
do.
Too. Yeah,
I think Boston's schedule is too hard, and I don't think they have the talent. But I would say this: if you're Boston, you have to be extremely proud of the season you put together. Extremely proud. And then we'll see if Houston in their division is going to be able to catch any of the other teams in front of them. Because I mean, you're looking at this division right now. Seattle's got the lead at 59 and 54. Their starting pitching is unbelievable how good it is. Houston's behind them, 57 and 54. 1 game behind them. Houston's been a lot better, but I mean their slow start is really they've had to make up for it. And Texas is 5 games back of them, and I don't think Texas is going to catch them at this point. That's a really tough division. You're going to see 3 teams more than likely come out of the Central. And you're going to see who's going to win that West and who's going to win that East. I think it's going to be the Yankees. I think at this point it might be the Mariners. But I mean, Houston's got that pedigree. Houston's got that experience. They've got that on their side. So it's going to be a fascinating end to the season. It really, in the American League, it really is.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm thinking Yankees division, Orioles wild card, Cleveland division. Oof. I would like to see Kansas City leapfrog over the Twins, right?
They could.
I think Seattle's winning the West. I think they're going to win the West.
That leaves Houston out of it.
Well, I would like that. That would be great.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like it too, but with them getting Verlander back now, I don't know if I think their experience is a huge thing for them in spots like this.
I really hope he doesn't pitch well when he comes back. The man is like nearly 50 at this point, and I just want him to go away. No offense to Justin Verlander, but I'm sick of him, and I'm sick of the Astros, and I just don't want good things for them anymore. They shouldn't have good things happen to them anymore. So, yeah, I don't want them anywhere near a wild card or near a division. So if Seattle can step it up and kind of pull ahead of them, so there is no chance that they could get, I don't want any of these shenanigans at the end of September with like Houston thinking they can get back into everything. I just want them out. Finally.
I can't argue with you on that one because
right?
I'm sick and tired of them.
So sick and tired of them. But yeah, I think it's interesting just quickly looking at this. How many teams are above 500 or within being like 5 to 10 games below 500? Like there are only a few teams who are absolutely terrible, but you have a few teams that are kind of in there. They're not going to really do anything, but they're still not as bad as they could have been, because there have been some years where there's so many teams that are so bad, and it's just like, why are you even bothering?
Look at the National League. Look at the National League, from the Mets to the Reds. Mm-hmm. Those teams are all within 5 games of each other.
Right.
It really is. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of this could be fun to watch down the stretch, how some of these teams do, and if some of them pick it up and make that wild card race a lot more interesting in the NL.
It keeps these teams involved a lot longer. I think they're going to move the trade deadline back because of this at some point in the future.
I think so too, and I think they should. Coming up next, let's preview the Yankees and Angels. The Angels, who are currently in 4th place in the AL West at 49 and 63, 9.5 games back. and their run differential is minus 96. Yikes. So we're going to look at the matchups for the 3-game series beginning tonight at Yankee Stadium.
I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down and we get fewer games and the sports aren't quite sporting like I want them to anymore, FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up any bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everybody every day, all summer long. Right now on FanDuel, you can go to the AL East division winner and get the Yankees at minus 160 to win the American League East. If you think their schedule in the rest of August is not very difficult and they should be able to win a lot of games, minus 160 could be a good bet for you to see the Yankees win the American League East. All you got to do is head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, it's the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows that are covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now, available in the free Fire TV Channels app. And remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. You just got to download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey, we're back, and the Yankees go into a series against the Angels where, again, another thing that we keep saying, it's not about a sweep, but you got to take 2 out of 3. Yep. You got to take 2 out of 3. You got to keep winning series. Tuesday night, the Yankees will take on Davis Daniel. Who is that? Who knows? He's 1-2 with a 4.91 ERA on the season. He'll go up against Luis Gil, who's 11-5 with a 3.20 ERA. Look for Gil to build on another good start. I think Gil is primed for the Yankee bullpen going into this playoffs. I really do believe that. I don't think they're going to want to build his innings up too much. They're going to be on a little bit of a watch of his innings the rest of the year because this is by far the most he's ever pitched in a season. But overall, as we're winding into the last third of the year, there was a little bit of a struggle there period of time, but Luis Gil has had an unbelievable season.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to the game tonight, and I get to see Luis Gil. I saw him pitch against Seattle his first season when he was pitching with the Yankees, and the Yankees didn't end up winning the game, but he pitched 5 scoreless innings, and he got himself into trouble very early and worked himself out, and then he pretty much mowed people down, and he looked great. And this was obviously before he got hurt. It was 2021 when I saw him. So it'll be cool to see him again and to be at a Yankee game for the first time in nearly 2 years, because I didn't go at all.
What made you stay out of it?
We were supposed to go to we had a game like the last weekend of the season last year, and it was a rainy day. And we were just like it was kind of iffy if the game was going to happen. And we just didn't want to go into the city with it raining and everything. Okay. So we just stayed home. So it was the first time since 1982. Excuse me, my cat is having a hissy fit right now. First time since 1982 that I didn't go to a Yankee game.
Surprising.
At least one in a season. Yeah, it was weird to end that streak. I've ended a lot of streaks, and it's kind of depressing because I wanted to have I had a 22-year Old Timers streak that ended because they don't play the game anymore. So I don't bother going to Old Timers Day because what's the point of just sitting there and watching them sit on the field and talk? I want to see a game. I don't want to see guys sitting there and not playing a game.
Are you in your regular legend seats for this game coming up on Tuesday, or is it going to be a little bit,
I will be in a suite for the first time ever. I'm pretty excited.
Are you what kind of eater are you at the game? Are you a chicken bucket kind of person? Are you a bacon on a stick was a big thing for years. Are you going to try that new Judge 99 burger that there's a 1.5 mile line for?
The last game I went to, I had halal guys. I had a chicken and rice platter.
Fantastic.
It was like $14, but it was so worth it because there was so much food. It took me 3 innings to eat that thing, and it was delicious. I used to be a Low Bell's steak sandwich person. That was my I'm very superstitious. So I had my Lobel's steak sandwich, and then every game in the fourth inning, I would go to Johnny Rockets and get a shake. That was my thing in 2009.
Smart.
I also had magic pants that I wore to every game beginning in June, and they didn't lose when I wore those pants. So
I have the Yankees 4th of July hat in 2017. It was the blue with the red brim and the American flag colors in the middle of the Yankee symbol.
yeah.
My sister got me that hat for the 4th of July. They didn't lose a home game I went to for 18 games. They went 18-0 in that hat. And I went to every single home playoff game in 2017, and they didn't lose a home playoff game in 2017. So that really, like, that hat worked out for me a while. The first game they lost that I went to with that hat on was Game 4 of 2018 ALDS when they lost to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
With that kind of game, that was a grasp for a grasp for anything right there. But that was the game with Chris Sale in the 8th inning. That Red Sox team was ridiculous.
They were also cheating. Anyway, Wednesday, Carson Fulmer with a 3.69 ERA against Nestor, 5-9 with a 4.16.
Who has
Nestor
struggled.
looked better last time he was out, though.
I think it had a lot to do with him being a little aggravated.
Yeah.
That start.
Yeah, I think
because
so
of the
too.
trade rumors and everything, and then not getting traded. He pitched well, but again, look at Nestor's numbers, right? I think those are the numbers that a lot of teams would die for a pitcher like that on their team. That just consistently is going to give you that kind of ERA. It's hard to find that in baseball today.
Yeah, 5-9, 4.16 ERA. And then on Thursday, Tyler Anderson. Now, these numbers are amazing. He's 8-10, but his ERA is 3.06.
Marks of a team that doesn't score any runs.
Yeah. Hopefully the Yankees will keep that trend going. Marcus Stroman, 7-6 with a 4.10 ERA.
He's been disappointing.
Yeah, he needs to snap out of this funk that he's been in for a few starts now.
Yeah, he's been disappointing, especially because of the way that he pitched at the start of the year, where he was going mid-3s the entire year. His ERA should not be over 4.
Yeah. He's having some issues. He needs to correct them. I mean, luckily, they don't depend on him to be the ace, but you want your
he's vying to be the third starter in a playoff series.
Yeah, like you want the guys that might be in the playoff rotation to do better than a 4.10 ERA, and you don't want them giving up home runs, and you don't want it to be where the Yankees find themselves down early in a game and they have to play catch up. So, hopefully he's worked on a few things during his throwing day, and maybe he can figure some things out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope that he's figured something out, because he needs to be better. And if he wants to find himself in the Yankee playoff rotation, he's going to have to be better than a 4 ERA.
And the one thing that was worrying from the other night was his velocity was down.
Yeah.
I think he was hitting 88 at one point. So I don't know.
He's only thrown 116 innings this year too, so he should he should not be tiring out too much.
Right. So that's a little concerning. So keep an eye out on Thursday for how his velocity looks, because maybe he just needs to skip a start or something. Who knows? It's possible. All right. So one more time, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered for you every single day. You can find the link to Locked On MLB in the description, so you don't need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So that'll do it for this Tuesday edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.